we are. Northeast USA Free Fly. We're going to take this little Huey for a ride. Feel free to join in. Even if you don't, I'm just going to show you a little bit of the northern, eastern portion of the good old US of A. In a chopper that I really enjoy flying. You gotta love it. How do you go wrong with that? Sounds good. I've got that career mode working good. Passive income is doing great, but it is time to sit back and take a break from that. I do know that a couple of variants of these have a hard time staying in the air. We'll see if I run into that same issue here. I do know that the fuel gauge on these is completely broke. It is always pegged at full, no matter what. You know, if that bridge is, high enough, I just might have to go for it. It's looking pretty good. A little bit of a bump on the way through. Mr. Telemark, good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir, it is. She flies real good. There's a couple of the variants that seem to have some issues, but this one seems to be doing just fine. Got to stay in line with the search and rescue anyway, right? Might as well put a red cross on the side of it. some kind of features inside of this. What we do have inside of the flight bag down here is a little pop-out exterior option. Just in case you want to, you know, change up a winch or side armor mounts, you can add. It doesn't put any weapons on it, but it does put the mounts into place on both sides. Come in and put a winch under it, which is already there. I do not know if that is operational just yet. Steps, I like this one. This one just happens to be my favorite. Surfboards, because why not? Is that Apocalypse Now? What movie is that where they do surfing off the back of the helicopter? Good times. Would be nice if we had a surfer out back, but not yet. Take the rear doors, slide those open. This one just comes off. I think the sound model on it is probably one of my favorite things. The flight model is really good. You can turn the page on this as well. You can make it a medical cabin. So now that I've got a completely different setup in the back. Add a crew chief. What else do we got here? You can put a GPS tablet onto the dash, as you can see just over my clipboard. Show the entire crew inside, but this is bugged. We wind up getting these little blue ghosts with the transport troops in the back. Those become visible. Which setup do I have as far as controls? I have a Thrustmaster T16000M. And as far as computer specs go, I'm running a Ryzen Threadripper 2950X with 128 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM on a 2080 Ti NVIDIA RTX. Controllers do have rudder pedals with them. Huey is probably one of my favorite third-party aircraft besides the H-160 and the 145. So this would be in the number 3 spot for me as far as flyability. The Collective is kind of like a T-bar. So it's a push-pull, has several different buttons on it, hat switches. A little surfing at the top of the nuclear power plant, why not? It's good stuff. Do have a little bit of a long flight today. If you want to join in, absolutely feel free. Don't need to bring a Huey. Bring any bird you want. This is a rental-free zone. We don't have any rentals just yet. One of these days when we get the marketplace up and running, I will be doing some giveaways for followers. What kind of setup do you have? Something else that you can put up here. Let's see if we can get back into our tablet. Cabin decorations. Get the little hula girl out there dancing. Gets a little much to look at every once in a while, but that's fun to have. You can also change this over to a modern avionics panel where it just puts your flight plan and everything directly into your display. Not exactly my favorite way to fly this aircraft considering its history. But yeah, there's quite a bit you could do. You can remove those armored seat plates. We got a little bit of a better view out the side. It's pretty great. You know, we got to go for it. There's always a little bit of a bump when you go under. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, most of the aircraft that I had in 2020 that I bought third party do work in 24. I even had the 145 and the 160 in 2022, but those work already, and we can already run missions, you know, through that. What's going on, Derek? Good to see you back, my man. Good sized farm. Manufacturing plant. There are a lot of semis parked out back here. Oh, yeah. Driving through this part of the country is fantastic. Flying ain't all that bad either. I think there is a little bit snow on the ground in real world environment, but I do not have the live weather on right now. West USA server if you want to join in. Didn't look like those cars were necessarily on the road. Skimming on that water. We be skiing with those surfboards. You gotta love it. Our eventual destination is right around the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. You know, I haven't tried to operate the hoist manually or anything like that just yet. The red hat switch for the hoist right here will not come up. That is just the cut. Turn a landing light on, forward light down, increase, decrease. That's the RPM. Don't really want to decrease that just right now. Is it in the overhead? That's pretty difficult to do while you're trying to fly in 2D. I'm just saying. Have not tried it just yet. It doesn't even in the menu say that it has the option to put anyone on that hoist. It just gives you to actually show the hoist. You just get the winch, side armaments, or you can just take the winch off and then it goes away. crew inside is a really interesting thing, though, where they get these blue flashing nightmares, and the blue will not go away. We'd just like to leave that off. Don't think the winch would be actually functioning in this one yet either. But again, I want to stress that just yet. You know, there's the possibility in the career mode where it says you can run aircraft that you purchase from the marketplace. So maybe, just maybe, perhaps one day. But not yet. Woo. Love to overspeed. Love it. Great helicopter to fly, though. Super responsive. I really like the 145 SARS. I did one last night in Scotland in a thunderstorm. Literally zero visibility. Maybe 5 feet, if that. It was pretty rough. I don't know, maybe not that eccentric, but yeah, it was rough flying, and you're able to fly those search and rescue missions using your autopilot and your auto hover and full systems capability of the aircraft, and actually do manual hoisting. It's actually a lot of fun. I enjoy it very much. Plus, you can make those missions anywhere on the planet. You can put them in the water. You can put them in any condition, you know, on the road. You can go out there and do it during the snow. It doesn't really matter, you know. That's my favorite part of it, because all of the search and rescue missions we're getting in career mode are really just the same sort of weather. It might get a little bit more windy, a little bit more cloudy, but we're not seeing any inclement weather. And knocking out those cargo hook missions with the 125 has become extremely profitable. I've actually even purchased another one. That's 7 in the hangar now. I still have the Cabri. The Old Faithful. Which is becoming harder and harder to hold on to, because the flight seeing missions, even though they're, you know, the opportunity to get my passive income working on all of those aircraft instead of me flying them, there's so many little bugs and just idiosyncrasies about those missions that annoy me so much. I'm pretty tempted to just ditch flight seeing altogether. And it does sound like my aircraft has lost power. Oh, she's firing it back up. Survived it. Not sure what happened there. I know I got fuel in it. See, this has been happening to quite a few of these Taug helicopters, right? Is they will all of a sudden in the middle of the flight just completely lose power for no reason whatsoever. This chip detect never really stays off. whatever. Fuel on. We got all of this. See, and now it's basically almost turned into a unflyable helo again. AC and we're on essentials. And that rotor just wants to come back down. Oil pressure gauge is all of this. It lets me spool up but will not launch, and all of a sudden it becomes practically unusable. I'm not sure why this happens. We're going to try to get this thing back up. And again, even though I've moved places, I've done quite a bit of flight time here. That fuel quantity gauge right here is just not budging at all. Still got the messages on our fuel or oil gauges here. We do have an airport of 8 November 8 coming up. Very interesting. Well, Derek, it depends on which mission you're talking about, because there are a few of them that take a specific landing location. Getting another RPM limit. Coming down again. I think I might just get into a different bird if I survive this. Right through the trees. Nope, didn't think so. Yep, moving on. The Huey is about to go Dewey. Let's get into something a little bit sexier than a Huey. Let's get into the old H160. Not sure why that's happening in these missions. We'll even just take the base. There are a ton of videos in my library, Derek, about trying to get those missions done. The Gihi Mountains and things like that. This time we're going to take off from 2 Papa Sierra 8. Let's go back into our original destination here of Kilo Alpha Papa Golf. And I believe we had one more stop in there at 8 November 7. Which should, whoa, wait, whoa, what's that? 8 November 7 should be right here. Let's take that 160 for a ride. Forget the Huey. I like it, but why doesn't it just stay in the air? Anybody else having that same issue with that aircraft? So far, it's happening on every variant of that helicopter, some quicker than others. That's better. Much better. It still really bothers me that the company that makes this helicopter is a partner of Microsoft's, and we don't see this helicopter in sim for these missions. Not even flight sim. That wait to compute. Turn that logo light on. There we go. Let's come out and do a little maintenance on this before we take off, because you know we like an aircraft that can be maintained. Got weight in there. We've got some fuel in there. Looks like we are pretty much ready to go. Take that Huey and keep it. I do like it. It is number 3, but it doesn't stay in the air. This bridge looks a little too low for my taste. Forget about the power lines. I love it. We've got a thumbnail with the Huey on it, and we're flying the 160. It never gets old. This is the one I want to be doing search and rescue missions in. I would even prefer this over the 145. But this does not have a hoist variant yet. follow the river instead of the flight plan. They do pretty much meet up. Now, for this one, you do have the ability inside of your pad to go into the missions and maps, and you can do transport missions in this. And it'll just give you a spot to go pick someone up, and now it's going to change my flight path, hopefully, to just a single destination. So now I would have to go pick that individual up. Appreciate you, Jay Walker. Thank you. Appreciate you stopping by. The key in this helicopter is on the artificial horizon. You've got a yellow dot and kind of like a gold diamond. The gold diamond represents your attitude in either vertical speed up or down. When it's on the horizon, you're in level flight. And the yellow dot represents your angle of attack. See what happens if we go pick this person up. Got the logo light on in the back so you can see just a little bit of a blue glow back there. As the sun goes down, we'll start to see that glow quite a bit more. Gotta love it, even on a nice clear day. Hands off flying and get this pilot a cup of coffee. It's good stuff. Mileage on these is working properly again. You can see that we've got a little bit over 20 miles to go. Maybe a little closer to like 16. Gotta love it. Fully functional autopilot. I'll take this over the Huey any day. She thinks so. But I want to fly this in career mode. Because we have the variants for flight seeing, passenger transport, VIP transports are basically what this mission set is that I'm doing right now anyway. It's the same thing. Turn the luminescence down on these a little bit. If you don't need it, you can even turn it off. Help save some of that bandwidth on your video. I do need to update my version of the PMS50. Good looking bird. So easy to fly. The way the reflections bend up the windows that have a little bit of a concave, convex, depending on which side of the aircraft you're in. It's just fun to fly. Very curious to see what my passive income will look like today once we get there. Didn't do nearly as much flying today as I did yesterday. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? A full boat. Full house up in here. Imagine all the money we can get for paying passengers inside of this thing. Why isn't this in career mode? Boo. Getting that view back where it should be needs to be a preset, doesn't it? I love the way these hills just look like waves. driving out here is absolutely amazing. House up here? It does say that there's a helipad. And this flies very much like the 145, but this is just so much more stable. Just going to the airport, huh? Put landing gear down. You can actually see that wireframe smoke off in the distance too on the tarmac coming off of our helipad. And even with that option turned off in these helicopters, that ghostly wireframe always shows up. Does have the flare, but the smoke is definitely just a wireframe. Waiting for packs loading. All right. Select a destination on the helipad. All right, well, if we're going to Kilo Alpha Papa Golf, why don't we just bring them with? We set this back to north. I believe it should be. Phillips Army Field. It's not going to let me bring it there, but it will let me go to this helo pad, so we'll accept that as a destination, and then we'll land at Aberdeen. Make sure we got fuel in here. 1,000. Career mode. Without the career mode. Better helicopters. Career mode. In free flight. Actually come up into the overhead here. Yeah, that works. Woo. I do love to overspeed. It's like my thing. Gotta love it. Can't do that in a Huey. And it does just look so vanilla. You might have to add a little more flavor. Slightly more relaxing than career mode, I'll say that. It might just be a nighttime landing. Menus sure do get bright. Brightness on the overhead panel for this one. brightness on the right too. I guess you could bring brightness and luminosity down. Suppose that'll work. A little better. Not using the autopilot, but it certainly does feel like it. Obviously, I'm not staying on my line, so, you know, maybe I should use autopilot. Definitely much cleaner weather conditions now than they were in Scotland, that's for sure. Trying to land the 145 in those conditions was beyond challenging. I should have left the autopilot in control of that for much longer. Love it. The contrast in this environment. Color range. I even got the chance to see a couple of llama the other day, once again spawning on the airport. Just a whole herd. That's where llamas hang out. Got that logo light coming in much better now. Tail rotor cowling. Not a bad looking bird at all. I love it. I'll take this over the Huey any day of the week. I mean, if we could figure out why that helicopter just decides to come out of the sky every once in a while, yeah, maybe I'll fly it some more, but for now, that Huey's gonna stay in the garage. Not a big fan of choppers just randomly and consistently losing power. Fuel gauges that are broke, the whole 9 yards. You know, there's a few things that are still left to be cleaned up with that chopper. Quite a bit of traffic on the road this evening. Nice following distance, though. What do you think? And not a lot of accidents happening on that road. Never get old. Anywhere on the planet at any point, just pick up and go. Can't really go wrong. You can go slow, but you can't go wrong. all of a sudden we get the auto adjust on the displays. Back off course again. Too busy looking around. Gotta love it, man. How can you go wrong? And who's up for some hide and seek? Do we have any takers for some hide and seek just yet? We know that Sarmedic 911 came up with the idea and we tried it and it was a whole lot of fun. And even though he wasn't able to get his aircraft visible at all times, we're able to get it to work. We just need to figure out when we can do that. Auto adjusting again. I love it. Turning the mood lighting on. Ooh, and again. Hello. Every time the sun gets a little bit lower in the horizon in sim, my flight management panels are also dimming out. Okay. Okay. I see you. Not a bad way to spend the evening. a chill flight. Why not? With the overspeed again, I love it. Fantastic. just an incredible environment. Look at what is happening here. We're getting there. Aberdeen Proving Grounds, delivery of quite a few passengers. Full boat. Ooh, I need some presets. It's rough getting around that cabin. Not a thunderstorm. Destination right around the corner. We have made it to Kilo Alpha Papa Golf with a full pack. And I've got a full house. All we gotta do now is get him safely on the ground, head back over to the airport. I'll take the 160 over a Huey literally any day. Starting to see the smoke again from this, like the wireframe smoke. See it right outside the window here. Looks like the helipad that they have in mind is actually buried in the trees. Let's see where it is right here. So I think what I'm going to do is actually the parking lot nearby. Coming down hard. A little bit of a vortex ring state there. Rough. This wireframe smoke kills me every time. Good to go. Finishito. Submitting the report on another successful trip to the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Pretty long flight. Not bad. Can't do that in Huey. Turn these up just a little bit, huh? Not a bad way to end the day. And the 160. Yeah, we did say that we were going to start this thing out in a Huey. But that is not the way it turned out. Either way, as usual, ladies and gentlemen, it is a blast. It is a ball. That's it. That's all. I will see you in the next one.